with Candace, her chart is what's called a little bit a lot volatile. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So if we go to her birth data, I couldn't find an exact time for her birth. So, I usually use either like noon or midnight if I can't find an exact time. Her birth reliability score wasn't that great. It's medium, but it's like pretty, like 59 minutes. It changes her type, center, channels. An hour and 5 minutes, authority and definition. So I going to show you the pieces that don't change. Okay. So if I think I put in noon here. If I put in noon, she comes up as a projector triple split, which I have difficulty seeing Candace as a projector. I just have difficulties, and I don't mean that as a slight at all. My spirit animal is an orca. I love orcas. I wish, so my bracelets are from, and this is not sponsored, Follow, Fahlo. And so you get to track like real animals on an app. So that like, they're not spiritual bracelets. It's literally the animals I track. I want them so badly to get an orca. I don't know if you can like tag orcas or if orcas are tagged, but I would love for them to get orcas. I'm a big orca fan as well. So I can't overly picture her as a projector. When I change her birth data, no matter what I click on and how it changes, the main change for her is she changes to a manifesting generator. So not many people are born around noon. So I am inclined to lean towards her being, not saying she couldn't have been born around noon, but I'm more inclined to lean towards her being a manifesting generator. So when I play with the chart, if I put it midnight, put it noon, noon's projector, midnight manifesting generator. If I put her as noon and I play with the times a bit, it puts her back to a manifesting generator. So I would say it's a safe bet, unless Candace comes out and gives her birth date. Let me know if you guys have heard her or her birth time. I couldn't find anything on it. I'd say it's a safer bet to see Candace as a manifesting generator, which makes sense. Manifesting generators can also come across really wrong. This is what I've said about Blake too. She's not a traditional manifesting generator. So what you need to be a manifesting generator is have a motor. So your ego is going to be a motor, your solar plexus is going to be a motor, your sacral and your root. Those are 4 motors. We're actually in a spiritual awakening journey right now where the solar plexus is shifting from an awareness center to a motor. So you might hear, if you start to study human design, you might be like, well, Ashley called it a motor, but over here it's called an awareness center. We're in 2027, it's going to finish its evolution over into a motor. So what you need to be a manifesting generator is a motor connected to your throat. So if we look at this, she has this is a lot of energy, no matter how you slice it. Oh, these are pretty similar, actually. Very small changes between these two. Yeah, I'd say like this is likely her chart, or at least some very slight difference. Like if I look at this one, her profile's 2-4 versus this one, a 2-5. I wouldn't be surprised if she was a manifesting generator with a 5th line, to be honest. But overall, what we're seeing is she has 3 motors coming up into 14-2, which is channel of the beat. It's like a very individualistic identity, a very individualistic direction. And it's all about like me. This is my direction. This is my identity. This is my beat. And you naturally empower people or not based on a very individualistic direction. Not only is she individual there, she's individual in 8-1 or the channel of inspiration. It's a role model energy. So we're getting like all this motor energy for Candace. We have the root and the solar plexus, then the sacral into the G center, which is identity injection, into the throat. It's a very individual chart. Like it doesn't even surprise me, a design of a thinker. You hear a lot of people say about her, I've even seen people say, pop culture is below you. Use your brain and your abilities for other things. She's a thinker. Like, it doesn't even surprise me that and for recognition. She wants to be recognized for her ideas. So it doesn't even surprise me that, she gets something, she latches onto it, and, go Candace. She seems to be a huge advocate for Justin Baldoni right now. She has the biggest platform, guys. Like, lover or hater, the woman has the biggest platform. Like, she's getting millions and millions and millions of views. She is someone you want on your side. If you're Justin Baldoni, you know, lover or hater, agree with her political views or not. Again, I'm a Canadian. I can genuinely say I don't know a lot about Candace. But this is someone that is going to rub people the wrong way, especially if we flip over here to 2-5. She is going to rub people the wrong way because it's very, her ideas are individual, her concepts are individual. It's all about like me, what I think, what I want, the direction I'm going. And it's, hi, Julia. Why don't you lie down, sweetheart? Good girl. You lie down. With that fifth line, it can just really rub people the wrong way. And the second line's in the front. So that's someone that's very much, it comes easy for her to be her, to just say her thoughts and be authentically her. It comes a little bit easier for her. She's also the right angle cross of the four ways. So the reason why I started to look at her is there's so much controversy online, right? It's like people are mad because she's taking credit for a lot of things. And then other people are mad because people are taking credit for things that she said. And it's just like this web. I need like a freaking board to organize who's mad at who. Attach 6 degrees to Candace. So I was like, what is going on? Like, I need to, like, this is how my brain works. I'm like, I need to see this chart because I need to know what's going on. I found very funny when Candace talks about rich people acting differently. Like, she wants us to relate. Well, yeah, she married a Brit who has a fortune of 240 million. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you know, it's the same thing with all celebrities when they try to be relatable. And it's like, dude, like, can you really relate to the average American or Canadian or whatever, wherever we are? We have a global audience here, wherever you are, when the average person's struggling to pay like grocery bills and their electricity. So there is that aspect as well. But she is like a thinker. Like when we look at the head in the ajna, Candace is under a lot of pressure to think, which is natural. That's normal for her. A lot of pressure to think, to conceptualize. Also, her sun is in 24 as well. Rationalization, spontaneous process of transformation and renewal through your thoughts. So it also doesn't surprise me that, you know, there's probably an aspect if she saw the views that it was getting talking about this, and she's a businesswoman. She's a very smart, intelligent woman, Candace. You don't have to agree with her. She's very intelligent. She probably saw the views she was getting, and she's like, all right, I'll use my thinking power. I'll use my thoughts. I'll use my concepts, what I think about this towards this. But yeah, design of a thinker, someone very individual, like very individual in how they move. Creation of independent of will. Like it's service. I do believe there's an energy of her, of whether you agree with her or not. She does believe that she's being of service to bring her thoughts, her identity, her direction, her channel of the beat, like her beat that she walks on. But with that 14-2, it's also a very magnetic energy for people that also want to be in that beat, that also agree, that also see things the way you see them. It's like a massive magnetic field. The 4 ways. So your incarnation cross is going to be kind of your destiny. It's the thinker. You recognize patterns. You have awareness for cycles. You're alert to things in your environment, and you quickly can adapt to change. So seeing her, you know, some of the controversies, people saying, you know, use your thoughts. I've seen this in her comments. I'm nosy. I creep things. You know, use your brain for politics and for things that matter. Why are you using it for this? You know, when we look at her incarnation cross, she's someone that's like, if she sees the pattern in something, she's hooked. And then she wants to see it through. She wants to unravel it. She wants to be able to see like how this plays out. That's very normal for her energy. Just catching up. Oh, interesting. Traditional and thinker. Yeah. Makes sense with her energy, guys. So yeah, I think one of the things we have to keep in mind, so for those that are going on their human design journey now, I get so many messages and comments of you guys being like, I never heard of human design, and then I found it through you, and now I'm on this human design journey. One thing to keep in mind with it is, in Ra Ruhu, who had the download of the human design system, had said this: the collective, the masses hate individuality. So if you're someone that has a lot of individual channels, which she does, 14 to 2, 1 to 8, 24 to 61, you're naturally going to rub people the wrong way, typically on a collective scale. Now, does this give someone the right to be hateful or, and I don't know much about her, not saying this is her, or a bully or racist or malicious, or no, of course not. It's not okay to allow a shadow expression of this come out and be like, oh, it's my human design. What can I do? This is just who I am. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is no matter what, if you have a lot of individual circuitry in your human design chart, you're going to rub people the wrong way. Why? Individual circuitry challenges the collective. It empowers the collective to think about something different, to think about things in a new way. But the collective doesn't want that. And that's from Ra Ruhu. So it doesn't surprise me, honestly, that she is just following what she wants to do, saying what she wants to say, sharing her beliefs that are true for her. Design sensitivity is really interesting. I don't know her really well. I wouldn't have taken her as someone that's super sensitive, but maybe she is. 19 to 49. The moon. I feel like there's a lot of like, we all have polarity in our chart. So she has 49, transformation based on highest principle and not simply power. I want you to hold on to that because we're going to talk about power in a second. Okay. So yeah, I wouldn't have seen her as someone sensitive, but again, I don't know her really well. And her personal brand might not be the entirety of who she is behind the scenes. She may be really sensitive with her friends and family and I think she has kids, and her kids, I saw a reel where she talked about her boys. She might be really sensitive with them and like put on a tougher exterior in her personal brand. So her personal brand would be her business, her podcast, how you see her. But that is someone that's pretty sensitive, actually. But it's always going to come back to my direction, my identity, how things align with my identity, my direction, my thoughts, my beliefs. Right angle across the 4 ways. Again, she's going to like grab onto something and she's going to have the thinking power, the alertness, and the strategic approach to unravel it. So when she says, when she was like, I'm seeing this through, I don't doubt it. I feel like she's a dog with a bone based on this. Let me know. Let me know in the comments, guys. Does this help you? Like, is this giving some context to her? I don't mean in terms of like, now you have to agree with everything she says. That's not what I mean. You can still disagree with her for sure. But does this like, oh yeah, like I don't know her well. Maybe you guys know her a little bit better. And like, this makes a little bit of sense. And people can. So what we look at in human design is your openness is where you take in other people's energy. Definition is consistent. It's who you are. It's a strength. However, so anything that's colored in doesn't mean you're using it properly. So I told you guys, I have a defined G center. It's this here, the diamond, the yellow diamond. And most of my life, which is what put me on my spiritual awakening journey, was like, I'm a lone wolf. I don't need anyone. It's my way or the highway. Like, I don't care. And a lot of it was from trauma. A lot of it was from situations I had been in growing up. And it was like a protective mechanism that I had put on. And also, the undiagnosed ADHD and all of that. I felt a lot of guilt over decisions I had made through the ADHD, like impulsive decisions. And I was like, oh, I'm such a fuck up. I mess up my life. But then I put on like this tough exterior of like, but I don't care. I don't care, whatever. And so I have a defined G center and I wasn't using it correctly. Right. And so that's what put me on that spiritual awakening journey. So, just because someone has definition, if you guys are going on your human design journey and starting to research it, doesn't mean you're necessarily using it right. Okay. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I did want to show you this because no matter what I do, no matter how I change her chart, even if she's still a projector, which I don't buy, I do not feel projector vibes from her at all. Like, I've worked with thousands of people in human design over the years. Even like a projector that's out of alignment with who they are still doesn't give off her vibe. She definitely gives off MG energy, like definitely gives off energy of the manifesting generator. But yeah, like, yeah, and that's a good point, RL. Doesn't mean she grew up rich. And I genuinely don't know. And so that's why I'm also taking a very neutral position to her chart. I like her chart, to be honest. You guys have heard me say I love gritty energy. I have a lot of individual energy in my chart. So I can also see a lot of the projection fields that people get placed on them with the individual energy, and how people like just automatically not like you because of your individual energy and your views. The other day when I gave, when I think it was the first time I talked about Candace actually. And I was like, let's just take a deep breath. We don't have to automatically hate everyone. And I kind of went on a little bit of a rant of like, we don't just have to naturally hate someone, and we don't have to naturally see someone as our enemy just because they see things different than us, which goes for everyone, right? Like even the people on the other side that feel that way. I lost a lot of people unsubscribed from that. So, I think sometimes we just want reasons to hate people also. But a lot of people unsubscribed and were unhappy with me saying that, which is that's totally cool too. I'm always going to come from the view, guys, of like neutral energy of like, let's just understand this person, right? And that's not popular because people want someone to take a side. People want someone to be like, this person sucks and they're horrible right out of the gate. I admire her fearlessness. I admire that so much, to be honest. I wish I had the ovaries to like just be as unfiltered as her. I don't know her history. I don't know her past. She might have like come up from nothing, and good on her. It's fucking hard in this world. I remember, as a little aside, I just want to give you guys a little bit of a backstory. Like I grew up, and I'll never forget when I was a kid, and my dad was in financial crimes. He was a detective in financial crimes. We're not close. That's part of the trauma I dealt with. He left when we were kids. But anyway, I'll never forget this conversation I had with him. And it was, when he was working financial crimes, he always said like, it's so hard for good people to get ahead in the world today. And that always stuck with me. And it's always also why I've been interested in helping people with branding and business, and why I was so interested in branding and business, because I wanted to help good people get ahead and good people do good things in this world and to be seen. But like no matter what, it's not easy in this world to, being kind of a sketch bag gets you ahead a lot easier. And I've seen it in the coaching industry. I've seen it in the spiritual industries. I've seen people like leverage and be manipulative and, not care who they burn in their path, hidden behind like spirituality or hidden behind caring or feminine energy. I have seen so much. I agree. Yep. Yes. And this is something I have said, I want to address this because when I was more focused on branding, which I don't do a lot of anymore. I'm more nuanced in who I take on now as branding clients, because I think a lot of people are just looking for overnight success, and that's out of integrity to me. This is what I've said from the day one. For anyone to make change in this world, I see so many people. I work with people that start charities. I started a charity. I fund it myself. I put all my money into it, but we started farm animal rescue on the farm, right? The kind of the tagline I've said all along is good people do great things in this world with more money. The problem is the good people that could do great things in this world don't understand how to play the game to be able to get to a position. And so what I've seen so many people do is they just like give up. And I've said to people over the years, you guys unfortunately can't see it because I deleted everything, but I've said to people over the years where, you can't change the world from under a bridge, stealing Wi-Fi from Starbucks. You just can't. People with money put themselves in power, and they are able to change the world. So I agree with that. And thank you for sharing that perspective, because I agree with that 100%. And it's unfortunate, but it's also the world we live in. And some people are very good people, and they'll also play the game a little bit to be able to get ahead, to then make the change. So it's just keeping that perspective in mind as well. And of how fast she could talk and articulate herself. Yeah, that is the MG in her. You want to talk about how fast Candace can like talk and articulate herself. She is so articulate. I love listening to just her speak. Very new to her podcast, but I watch her podcast now at night. She is so articulate. She's so articulate with her ideas and her concepts. and just putting that like oomph of that sacral energy, that life force energy behind her voice. Her intelligence, fast thinking. Yeah. And that's what I appreciate, is people that can hold that polarity of like, I disagree with this and I also respect this. And there's not a lot of, the general public struggles with that a lot. But a great book, I should have had it here because I recommended it the other day, is The Third Perspective by Africa Brooke. Is fantastic. And yes, please, we don't want to distort what anyone said. Please just don't. We're all friends here. And it's hard sometimes over text in just a few short sentences to get the whole context as well. All right. So one thing I want to look at as well, to give you a little bit more perspective. Remember, perspective, we looked at wanting from Justin Baldoni's perspective, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively. Look at Candace's, it's power. Now, this is really interesting to me. And remember, guys, what we have to keep in mind is someone's perspective is not making them wrong. Okay? We can't say, ugh, this person sucks because their perspective is power and what a douchebag. Like, no. We also can't say that, at the end of the day, did she maybe go about it wrong if all these claims are legit against Blake Lively? Well, yeah, she went against her perspective of wanting very wrong. If it was like, I'm going to just like take someone down. But she's still perspective wanting Blake Lively. This is interesting for Candace. And I'm so nice to see someone that is different, because all we've seen is wanting lately. She's power. So power is someone that actually has the potential to make real change in the world, for good or evil. Everyone's going to have their own perspective on that. But when we're looking at power, color 3, this is someone that is also, you put them in the room and they understand power. This is someone that understands how to play the game. This is someone that understands how to be in a room with very powerful people and put themselves in connection with the right people. It's also like this desire of like to have the power to, bring her concepts and ideas out into the world, speak them out into the world, her identity, her direction, what she believes in. But overall, this is very much someone that understands the nuances in power in a way that no other perspective can. Like, this is a power player. This is someone that walks into the room, knows what she wants, knows who she needs to get in connection with to get what she wants and to make change, and also knows and understands power dynamics. So I saw that with Candace Owens' chart, and that also put a lot of perspective into the whole situation for me with her. It's like she is someone that just understands power. And peripheral, right arrow, doesn't mean she's necessarily a follower, but it does mean that she's kind of like in the room and taking it all in, kind of like a sponge. So there's a lot, she understands a lot, and she has a defined throat, and she kind of filters it through, and she's looking at her own experience, her own ideas, her own concepts, and then speaks it out. But yeah. And with the follower, it doesn't surprise me to see her take and I don't mean that she is a follower herself, but to attach to one direction or another with something at all. This isn't someone that's going to be middle of the road. In fact, if she came to me for a human design reading and she was like, I'm kind of like middle of the road. I I don't care much about politics, whatever, everyone do you. I'd be like, girl, you feeling okay? You feeling all right? Because that's not you. Wow, you're so psych. It was just typing that power can be used for good or evil and how to delete it as you said it. We're all in tune. Yep. Rich people living cuckoo land. Yeah. And rich is also, here's the thing that's interesting as well is it's all relative as well, right? Like you look at Taylor versus everyone else in Hollywood, and everyone else seems and appears poor compared to her. It's all it's just, but yes, I agree that sometimes it's just difficult sometimes, right? It's difficult when a lot of people are struggling to pay bills and they're like, all these people, rich people problems is kind of what you hear a lot. And I get it. And I think that's why a lot of people are pushing back against, oh no, I have hair in my eye, about people like Blake and Ryan, because they're like, I'm so sick of like rich people problems. Like, this is so high school. I want to rewrite. I want Taylor to do a rewrite on So High School. Is that even the name of the song? But anyway, this is someone that understands power, right angle, peripheral. She's taking it all in. I think she takes in more perspectives than what people are aware of or what she outwardly says. I think she takes in a lot of perspectives, and I think she considers a lot. Now, here's the thing. When you have a defined ajna as well, you're meant to be like, I'm certain about this. Like, this is the way, this is what it is. The defined ajna is meant to be a little bit bullheaded. And that is also correct for them. They're meant to be certain. I am certain about this because I've been thinking about it. I've been analyzing it. I've pulled the threads. I am certain about this. Again, I would, especially with writing or the right angle cross of the four ways, I'd be more concerned seeing a reel from Candace and she's like, like it might be this, it might be that. Like, I just, I'm not certain about it, but like, this is what people are telling me. Knowing her human design now, I'd more be like, what is going on? So when people also like judge her for saying like she's so certain about things, and you see a lot of people be like, what I've seen in the discourse recently is how she be certain about that. Like, she needs receipts, she needs this, she needs that. It's also just her speaking. Like, that's her design to be like, I am certain about this. I trust. You might not have seen what I was taking in. Remember, this power dynamic, peripheral follower. She's going to she is taking in a lot. That right arrow, you're like a sponge. You're absorbing everything and anything. And then you choose the side that you are deciding to go on. I think she takes in a lot more than she lets on. I think she's probably a lot more open-minded than what she lets on. Even if you agree or disagree with her on things, in her own way, I do believe she's filtering it in a way that like is considering other perspectives, but she is meant to be certain. If I saw a reel from Candace and she was just like, I don't know, like maybe. No, this is a chart of someone when she talks, she's like, I am certain about this. This is what's happening. This is where it's going. Like, even at the way I saw a reel from her the other day, she's like, I want Taylor Swift subpoenaed. Like, where she's like now a lawyer in the case. That is like, that's her design. Love her or hate her. That is her design. Agree with her or not. This is someone that's done kind of like the work behind the scenes. And she's like, but no, this is and you're not going to sway someone with a design like this. And why I love human design is because, again, for say someone like Blake, you don't have to agree with what she did at Justin. We can understand where the energy was coming from, distorted or not. You don't have to agree with Candace's political views or not, but we can kind of understand. It's like someone like her with this energy, they're meant to be certain. They're kind of meant to be bullheaded. They're meant to be like very strongly set in their beliefs and understanding the power dynamics. I don't feel like Candace invites opposition to her forceful opinions. Oh, it might just be Hollywood. Yeah, maybe. Musk is someone I want to do a reading on as well for human design and astrology. I think he's another person that a lot of people misunderstand. The tricky part, she's very convincing. If she has shitty intel, she can create a very wrong narrative. But here's the thing, right? And I agree. Yeah, if you have a big following or even a small following, the thing is, everyone's always being conditioned. We're always being conditioned. Humans by nature are not completely unbiased by nature. We're all flawed. We all suck sometimes. We all get it wrong sometimes. We all mess up and put our foot in our mouth sometimes. And she's very convincing because that's who she is. Like, it's her chart. Like, Candace Owens is this is a chart of someone that just like commands attention because they're so certain, but she's meant to be certain. Now she had an undefined ajna. So this green triangle here, if she had an undefined ajna, then they're not really meant to be certain. It doesn't mean you can't be certain about nothing, but there is just more of like this energy of the more open mind, if you will. But defined, you don't see a lot of people with defined head centers. You just don't. I think it's 70% of the population have undefined head centers, 70%. So what ends up happening as well, when we're used to being around 70% of the population that presents in a certain way because of their energy, right? Energy speaks before we do. It can feel like oof, when you're around someone with this kind of definition, which is also individual. The two other channels, 64 to 47, 63 to 4, are collective. So it's more sharing ideas for the collective channels. But her ideas are very individual. And so it can feel like a punch in the face because it's like, I'm not used to dealing with this. Definitely must too. Yeah, I want to do, we're at 2 hours again. This was supposed to be 20 minutes. I am incapable of doing a short stream, guys. One day we're gonna be like Emily D. Baker, like 12 hours later, and we're still down the rabbit holes and talking about this stuff. Oh my goodness. I can't believe we're at 2 hours. I was like, this is gonna be 20 minutes. It's cool. I booked today off to do client charts and stuff and client work and to welcome Alaska home. So we're good. Yeah, we're good. I'm not on timeline. I can make my own schedule today. But that's Candace Owens. A very strong energy. Her Pluto's in gate of self-expression. Creation is independent of will. It's self-expression. And Plutonian energy and self-expression can feel like very, well, Plutonian, very rough energy for sure. But anyway, I wanted to pull up her chart because I was just like, I need to understand this Candace Owens a little bit better. And she would, I imagine she would agree that she understands power. I feel like she would agree with that, and that she's able to like attune to, especially you guys said that she likes Trump and Musk, one of the richest, I would say, like most powerful people. She understands power. I'm sure she would agree that she has very strong beliefs that are based in who she is. I'm sure she would agree that she walks to the beat of her own drum and is unapologetic about that. I can't see anything of this where she'd be like, that is so far out of left field. I can't, you know, the only thing, if I was to ever talk to Candace, I actually think her and I would get along really well because she has a defined head center and a defined solar plexus. So I feel like we'd get along pretty well. I have those undefined. And I have 18 and 48, which she's missing. So our charts, and I have 26, which she's missing. So our charts would actually go together pretty well. The only thing I'd want to talk to her about, if like I ever had a chance to talk to Candace Owens, I'd be like, girl, this is the only thing that doesn't make sense. This is the only thing that doesn't make sense. Because I would have never taken her as a super sensitive person. But someone's personal brand doesn't mean that's like the fullness of who they are either.